to begin our Oklahoma Local Ag Collaborative lunch session, and this is going to be about being an advocate for agriculture. We're really excited about this panel discussion. We have some great experts. And so I'd like to first introduce our moderator for today, and this is Steve Thompson. He is the Vice President of Advocacy for the Oklahoma Farm Bureau, or policy. And he has been an advocate in Oklahoma State Capitol for many years, helping fight to help keep agriculture strong in Oklahoma. And so he'll be leading this discussion and helping facilitate our conversation today.
All right, thank you, Meredith. We'll try this and see, and if you can't hear us, just shoot up a flare and we'll try to speak up. But like she mentioned, my name is Steve Thompson. I'm based out of the Oklahoma City office of Oklahoma Farm Bureau. We have 77 county organizations all around the state, and our marching orders are given to us by our members through the policy that they approve from both the local, district, and state level. And we work on a wide variety of issues. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about taxes. We've always got to talk about concern about property taxes when you deal with a bunch of farmers and ranchers and landowners. But most recently, we've spent a lot of time dealing with marijuana and zoning issues, county zoning, other things that have come up that I think are very applicable, whether you're a small new startup farmer or whether you're a long-term family legacy farmer and rancher. And so there's a number of those things that we think we're all in this boat together. And one of the things Meredith wanted us to talk about was the importance of advocating both at the local and the state level. And you're the key to that. You know, Farm Bureau has a large organization that works on a number of issues, but we're driven by individual members, and that's what we want to kind of get across to you, the importance of you stepping up and participating, asking questions of all of us, of your neighbors, everybody else here in the room, and we would love to try to help you with that. And so we'll kind of rotate around here today, but I'll just pass the mics down and let everybody else introduce themselves, and then we'll get started with some question and answers.
All right, thank you, Steve. My name is Michael Kelsey. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association. Our office is down in the Stockyards, which you'll learn more about in just a few minutes from the lady sitting next to me. The Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association is pretty much self-explanatory. We're an organization of cattle producers from across the state of Oklahoma. All 77 counties have cattle. And some have more than others, obviously, but certainly we have members in all 77 counties. Our membership ranges from small producers, 1, 2, 3, 4 head, all the way up to several thousand head. And if I mentioned a name or two, you'd probably recognize some of them, such as the Pioneer Woman, Ree Drummond. The Drummonds are members of OCA. They have quite a few cattle up in the Osage country. So all in between, and all different types of cattle operations as well. The cow was created uniquely to do something that you and I can't do, and that's take a food or a nutrition source and turn it into something that we can't eat and turn it into something that we can. Grass, the last time I sat down to a plate full of grass, I left hungry. But the last time I sat down to a plate full of nutritious beef, I left very satisfied. And that's what that mama cow can do. And so I know many of you are involved in livestock production, perhaps selling directly to consumers or directly to a retail or a wholesale type market or something along those lines. We have a lot of members who do that. We have a lot of services for our members who do that. And in addition to advocating for them, as Steve mentioned, what Farm Bureau does, we consider Farm Bureau a very close ally in agriculture. We're pretty much confined to the mama cow. We stay pretty close to the cow, as you can imagine, in terms of issues. And so when it comes to lobbying at the state capitol or even at the federal capitol or even on the local level, if it's cattle related, we'll engage pretty hard. If it's not cattle related, we may let Farm Bureau lead, but help and support, because we're all in this business together. Agriculture rises and falls or decreases or diminishes all together. So we've got to work together, but in that sense, our members are primarily cow-calf stocker type producers, registered producers. Some of the best genetics in the world are located right here in the state of Oklahoma. So lots of variety of membership within our organization. I look forward to talking with you about how to advocate not only for the industry, the beef cattle industry, but also for your business operation if you're in the livestock or cattle production. Kelly?
My name is Kelli Payne. I'm the president of Oklahoma National Stockyards, and that's one of about 412 different hats that I wear. Generally, I am in a ball cap, so feel a little fancy today.
Dress up good.
Thanks. I farm over south of Mustang. I'm actually in Oklahoma city limits, which presents some additional challenges. The Oklahoma National Stockyards, as you all know, is located about 2 miles from downtown Oklahoma City. That has challenges in and of itself. Our farm, we certified 8 years ago for agritourism. We wanted to be able, not with just the position that I have at the stockyards, but we wanted to put our money where our mouth was and provide some educational opportunities on the farm. My sister and I have a commercial garden called Growing Payne. Some of you have probably had an opportunity to be out there. We hold a couple of festivals a year, except for this year, thank you, drought and grasshoppers. So that freed me up for last weekend, by the way. Some of you are also going through those challenges too, but some of the things that have been really important to me, it's not just that I'm representing Oklahoma National Stockyards and cattle producers, not only here in Oklahoma, but all the way down into Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Louisiana. We have customers from everywhere. But I also serve on the Ag in the Classroom Advisory Council. It's very important to me to network with the other commodity organizations here in Oklahoma. I'm a proud member of Oklahoma Farm Bureau. We do a lot with them, and I'm a district vice president for the OCA. So any chance that I get to spread the good news about agriculture, I'm certainly going to take it. I'm finding with about 200,000 tourists a year through Oklahoma National Stockyards, some of these folks are 4 and 5 generations removed from agriculture. There's never been a more important time for us to tell our story in a positive manner. It doesn't matter if you're keeping bees, if you're making soap, candles, etc., or raising cattle, which I do. There's an opportunity for each and every one of us to send that positive message. So I look forward to visiting with you all about that. I'm very active with policy from the local level all the way up to the federal level. It's not uncommon for us to entertain Senate leaders from the federal level there at the yards. Usually Michael's with me. Got to have some backup sometimes. But I take the advocacy so seriously that I even threw my hat in the ring a couple years ago for Oklahoma City Council. So I've swam in the swamp, so if y'all ever want to discuss any of that, I'm happy to discuss it with you.
That's a challenge. Sorry. Hi, everyone. You can hear me? Okay. I'm Lauren Ford. I'm a policy manager with the Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust. So we were founded about 20 years ago after a master lawsuit with 45 other states against the tobacco industry, and they pay into an endowment we have every year. And so we use the earnings off of that endowment to help fund grant programs to improve health throughout the state. And so these grant programs are aimed at reducing tobacco use, poor diet, and sedentary lifestyle. And so we use a lot of different policy avenues to improve health and improve access to healthy foods, because we know that's extremely important, and it does take a multifaceted approach to improve health outcomes. I do want to mention our Healthy Living program. It's one of our largest grant programs around the state. The first round of HLPs that we had covered about 63 counties, and it passed over 1,500 policies that supported tobacco-free environments, physical activity, and healthy nutrition. And these HLP grants, they use community partnerships with governments, local governments, public health groups, local businesses, and they assist in passing policies that can improve food and agricultural access, farmers markets, healthy retail, and it can be done using a lot of different avenues, like zoning ordinances, comprehensive master plans, support resolutions. We also fund incentive grants around the state, and these incentive grants can go to schools and communities, and they're often done with the goal of passing local policies that can improve nutrition, physical activity, and other health things. And once these policies are passed at the local level, then they're granted a certain amount of funding that can be used to improve health, like if it's improving a farmer's market, a splash pad, or playgrounds. It's just done with a way to ensure that more policies are done because they last longer. And we know that it's extremely important. And I also quickly wanted to mention there's a new state obesity plan that the Oklahoma State Department of Health recently completed, and it's on their website, oklahoma.gov/health is their website, and they have quite a few goals and objectives. I know one of them is by 2023 to increase by 5% the number of EBT accepting farmers markets, food hubs, and farm stands. So just things like that. It also is important to look at these policies. And as an agency, we do also work to educate local governments and key stakeholders and state legislators just about how important improving food access is. And that's part of my job. I often work with state legislators and help to educate them on these health issues. And so thank you for having me today. I'll pass it along.
Thank you. First, I want to say welcome to Cleveland County and The Well. How many of you have been here before or seen this facility? Wow. So first time for a lot of you guys. This is awesome. So welcome to The Well. I think most importantly, I would tell you that I was born and raised on the east side of Cleveland County here, and I've been in a cow-calf operation pretty much my entire life. If you can raise it, I've pretty much raised it within my family and my kids. And so I've seen it from the inside and out. And as I've moved into my position, I'm currently a county commissioner here in Cleveland County. I've been doing that for 10 years now. And I truly have a passion and a desire to do what I can to assist and help our local producers and those that raise things here in Cleveland County. Tell you a little bit about this facility. It became very apparent that we needed to do some improvements to our county fairgrounds and our farmers market that was there. I also serve as chairman of our Cleveland County Health Board. And as we talked about partnerships and the way that we could bring a healthy living lifestyle and nutrition to our residents, we came up with the idea of what this is, and it's the Well. I really think it's absolutely gone fabulous. It's exceeded our expectations here. If you haven't had a chance to come to our farmers market, it is amazing, and we've already increased not only in vendors but in sales all the way around. And I think that's what we're here to do as your local government, to advocate for you. I believe that you're the backbone of our community. Whether you're doing this as a hobby or you're making a living at it, we're here to assist you in that. And I was told a long time ago that relationships are the conduit to influence. And that's what it's about, is building those relationships, whether it's with your legislators, whether it's with the other people at this table, on a federal, a state, or a county level. That's where we're going to get things done. So I'm happy to share our experiences and what we've done, the trials that we've been through, and the successes that we've had. So look forward to an excellent discussion.
All right, thank you guys very much. I'm sure that each of us could filibuster the rest of our time on some pet issues that we would like to talk to you all about, but I think Meredith wanted us maybe to throw it open and see what kind of questions you guys might have for us or for the rest of the room. And as you can see, I mean, it didn't matter if it's legislative, whether it's production, marketing, funding, or other governance-related things. I think between us, we can hopefully help point you in the right direction or go to battle with you. So. I think if it's all right, Meredith, let's just see what's on the crowd's mind. Yes, sir, in the back. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question in regards to WOTUS or waters of the U.S. I think that affects almost anybody that's in this room that has anything to do with agriculture. And we still don't know where the federal government's going to come down on this. Could y'all enlighten us a little bit? Tell us what we're talking about and what the negative aspects could be, and is there
Well, I'll start there and then give the rest a crack. Actually, it's kind of timely you said that because the United States Supreme Court last Monday, the first case of this term, was largely about EPA's uncertain answers regarding the waters of the U.S. They are developing a new rule there. We've been kind of on a teeter-totter there. The Obama administration had a pretty broad, sweeping rule that the Trump administration took back a different direction, and now the current administration is taking back again a different direction. And so, as folks that represent producers, we've been really concerned. No matter where you fall on the specifics of just getting a clear answer, so you know what you're dealing with, about who can regulate you and what are the rules that you're operating under. So many times that's the biggest problem. Isn't what the rule is, it's not knowing or the changing of the rule. That certainty is very important in our business. But there is a case being considered by the court. We'll have an answer in a couple of months that we think could finally put some clarity into what EPA's jurisdiction is, what kind of ground they can cover and what they can't. Farm Bureau has requested that the Biden administration sort of slow the new rule until we get a court ruling on this, and as you can imagine, they haven't really listened to us. So I can't give you much for answers. I think it is a big concern, and more than anything else, that it seems like every 4 to 8 years we have a completely different set of rules, and there's very few answers about, is my property governed by the EPA, and is the water that I have considered a waters of the U.S.? And I wish I could give you an answer. Certainly we all care about the land, air, and water, and we need to take care of that, but we all kind of need to be playing by the same rules and understand them so we can work together towards that. But there's just nothing but uncertainty on top of uncertainty right now. But Michael works on that as well, so.
Steve did a really good job of summarizing that, and I'm with you. I'm kind of sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for that Supreme Court to issue, which probably won't come for several months, which is very normal for the Supreme Court in terms of their calendar year. What I would add to that is it's very important that everyone pay attention to those types of policy issue. According to statute or state law, I've been working on WOTUS for a long time, Steve, just as you have, and this, ever since Mr. Obama initiated that first rule change regarding waters of the U.S., specifically around the definition of navigable waters. But under state statute as well as federal statute, there are basically 4 types of water. You only own, on your land, you only own one of them. Now, I'll let you research which one you own, and I will tell you it's not surface water. The surface water on your land is not owned by you. That's according to state and federal law. Okay, so the question then becomes, who has the jurisdiction to understand or to regulate the quality of that water? And you can't regulate the quality of that water without regulating the land. Think about the water cycle for a moment. That picture of water dropping on, a raindrop dropping on the land, and then where does it go? It eventually goes to the sea. There's songs that are sung about that, that are romantic in nature. Anyway, and then it goes back up to and then here's the water cycle. Not all water, though, travels the same or carries the same things in that water cycle. I would argue with you, or actually show you, not argue with you, but show you evidence that in a grass setting, the grass does a marvelous job of filtering the water. The grass actually takes up the nutrients that were found in the water, such as nitrogen, urea, phosphorus, some of those types of things that are found in natural fertilizers, which are very abundant in a cattle operation, hint, hint. And so that when that water actually gets to the stream, it's pretty clean. And so trying to understand, we're going to compete with a train here for a minute, trying to understand how a rule can have broad application on your farm, as well as on the farm across the county, as well as on the farm across the state, as well as on the farm that's across the country, might not be the same. And so a one-size-fits-all policy just doesn't work. And so that's the struggle with when you start making tweaks to that definition of navigable and then overarching definitions, it gets into an issue because you may have a system that does a very good job of filtering that water. You may not. I don't know. It depends on where you're at and how much rainfall you have. And so a lot of factors there. But I guess to answer your initial question, I'm going the long way around the barn, which I have a habit of doing occasionally, but to nonetheless pay attention to those types of things, because you might think, well, that only deals with rivers. That only deals with the oceans. Remember, there's 4 types of water that are recognized by state and federal law, and they all occur on your land, and you only own one of them. The other 3 you do not own at all. And so that's how that regulatory idea or that tentacle can come into your operation, whether you have 1 acre or whether you have 10,000 acres. And so it's very important to think about that.
I tell you, I've dealt with it some from a county perspective, and I think what they said that's most important is it's based on interpretation, and it depends on who's in charge at the time as to how that's interpreted. And I really think it's going to come down to the judiciary is going to have to make some decisions. I know the Supreme Court is going to rule here soon, but that's not going to be the final answer. There's going to be lots of different areas in this that's going to have to be worked out in the courts in order to get a final interpretation so that it's not just based on whoever's in charge at the time.
Good question. What else you got? Sir?
Thanks for hosting us here. I have a question for the county commissioner. How was this funded? Was this a private, public project? Was the county funding this beautiful facility you have?
So this is primarily funded through the ad valorem taxes from the Cleveland County Health Department for dollars that were specifically set aside for health and nutrition. Now we have partnered on this, and so the property itself came from the Cleveland County itself. And so we've worked together, and it's the first of its kind. It has been challenging to work through all the red tape, as you can imagine, when you try and bring separate government entities together from the state health department, your local health department, and the county itself. But I think it's worth it, and I think it's a beautiful facility, and I think it's doing some amazing things. We actually have brought in other partners as well. So I don't know, I saw several of you attended our cooking demonstration upstairs. That actually is by our technology center, Moore Norman Technology Center, paid for and put the kitchen in place. On the very southeast corner of the building, you'll see a clinic, and that is Norman Regional Hospital. And so they've partnered with us to put that clinic in place. So we've really looked to bring as many partners as we can to make this work. The Pioneer Library System plays a big part in it, and they do a lot of programming for us in this facility as well. So it's really been a great partnership. And to be honest with you, as we were putting this together, it became a point in time where we said, okay, we really need to slow down and focus on what our goals are and who we're going to bring in to be part of this, because it's such an exciting time and place for people to be here.
So do you have an organization that runs the overall building?
Yes. So again, that is a partnership between the health department and the county. And so we have a director, we have somebody over program management. We actually have I don't know if any of you have met him, a veterans coordinator that works out of this facility as well. And so they're all here. They all work together to put on the classes and work with our community partners here.
Anybody else? Meredith. Well, that's a great question. It might be a hard question, but we can answer at least part of it, I think, combined. The first thing I would say is just don't be afraid to ask almost anybody. You just can't. I mean, a lot of times you don't know who to ask. You just have to start, and you have to be persistent. You have to be nice. You have to be respectful. You catch more flies with honey kind of a deal, because I know we've all dealt with passionate folks throughout any number of communities who felt like they had a legitimate issue, and when someone doesn't feel the same way, their attitude sours real quick, and that doesn't go anywhere. But whether it be any organization that you know of in the community, whether it be your county commissioner, whether it be your city council, I don't think there's a wrong person to ask, whether it's your local legislator. I mean, whoever you can get access to. But if you do it in the right way, and you have, sometimes it takes longer than you would like. You may have to run through a whole list of people, and the first 9 people on your list, you may say, hey, they're an idiot. But that doesn't mean you can stop. You have to just keep going and be persistent and be nice. And I don't know that they're, depending upon the issue, we could probably point you in a better direction. But I don't know that there is a magic direction for that. You just have to stay after it, and you have to do it as respectfully as you can muster.
Oh, I'd love to.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, we do have quite a few TSET grantees. So if it's a healthy living program, if you go to our website, oklahoma.gov/TSET, and look under healthy living, you can see if there's an HLP, a grantee in your area. And of course, they can assist you with, improving access to local agriculture or healthy nutrition. They have a lot of avenues for that. And we do know that our grants, we try to provide grants throughout the state to ensure that people work at the local level, and because we know to improve health outcomes, it's important to start locally and then do it. It will help us improve outcomes at the statewide level. And so I would start, I think it's good to educate groups and legislators or even stakeholders in your town, and then at the state level too, because it all really helps. Thanks. Okay. I don't know for sure. I would think maybe the State Department of Agriculture or USDA may have some resources for you to answer that. Sorry.
I want to go back to the former question real quick when he talked about how you can, you ask how you can influence or get those questions out. Truly, I like to say that county government is the closest government to the people. And I highly encourage you, just email, call, talk to your county commissioner. I'm going to call everybody back and I'm going to have a conversation with them. But if you can build a coalition, if I start getting 2-3 people calling me about the same topic, or if I get an email like I have recently on a subject that I'm getting about 400 to 500 people emailing me, obviously that is a passionate, serious subject for my community. And so if you can build a coalition, you can use those friends, you can use those organizations to get that information and get those questions out, you're going to get a lot better response. Not that I'm not going to call back every person that calls me, but I can tell you the more people that I hear from, the more I'm going to respond.
And I wanted to address that as well. Something that's been really important from my perspective, and I encourage you all in this room, whatever you're doing in agriculture, you are the expert. And so if you get a new county commissioner, a city council member, state legislator, introduce yourself to them. Educate them on what you do, because and I'll tell you what's happened there in Mustang. We had a situation, and of course, you probably saw Michael and I and Steve looking at each other. Michael has always preached to us there at OCA that if there's a call to action, say it's on property rights or taxes, they'll send that out to the OCA members, and we contact our legislature. I don't make sure I'm not quoting you wrong. If they get one call, okay, this is a concern. 2, wait a second, what's going on? 3, the state capitol is on fire. I mean, it's because we don't generally reach out to our elected officials. We had a call to action a couple of years ago on a tax situation. When I called my elected official, my state representative there at Mustang, he said, Kelly, I was fixing to vote for this in 10 minutes. I'm changing my vote. But he already knew me. He knew how much land we had in that area. We're one of the largest taxpayers for Canadian County, I'll just be honest with you all. And it was going to cripple us as an agricultural producer. So that one call changed it. So it's very important that you just go and introduce yourself to them. There's fish fries, there's Rotary clubs, there's all kinds of things. Something else I would encourage you to do, get on those lists. If Kiwanis is looking for a speaker during Ag Month, Dairy Month, whatever, Beef Month, whatever the case may be, raise your hand, call them and say, I want to speak on that. I want to come and speak to you about bees. I want to come speak to you about growing carrots. It doesn't matter, because you're the expert. You're the expert, and don't ever forget that. And you may not know all the answers, but you want to cement that in their mind that they are going to call you before they ever do anything. I can tell you horror stories about Oklahoma City Council. I'm looking around making sure I don't have any council members sitting in here. Oh, and we're being taped. Shoot. But that would be my recommendation to you.
Steve, if I could, I'm going to add one thing that hasn't been talked about and risk ruffling a little feathers a little bit. But I want you to put on, for a moment, put on your hat where you're selling to a consumer. Most of, if not all of you do that. You have consumers or customers that come to you. How do you like to hear from your customers? Those customers that only complain to you. Do you enjoy those conversations? I mean, do you enjoy, you all know it. We're standing there, we're selling some product, and we see that person coming. Oh, boy. Let's just be honest. We know that, right? That's right. So if you're the type of person that only calls your politician, your city councilman, your commissioner to complain, you're doing exactly what you dread from that customer. Don't be that person. Get to know them well ahead of time. If they do something well, call them and thank them. OCA, we have a strict policy. If I ask a legislator to vote a certain way, if I personally ask them, vote a certain way, and they do, and I don't thank them, I have failed at my job. I have failed. And you would be shocked at how many of them say, we never get anybody telling us thank you. So do that. I'll go a step further. Get involved in the process. Put a sign in your yard. Pick a candidate. Help them. Campaign for them. Work with them. If they win, stay with them. Continue. If they lose, reach out to the one who won. Just don't assume that, well, I supported the opponent and that guy or that gal will never talk to me because don't assume that. You wouldn't want a person to do that with your business, would you? No, you wouldn't. So reach out. Reach out to them and say, hey, and do what Kelly said. I want to work with you. Did I support your opponent? Yes. But congratulations on winning. I want to work with you. I want to help you. I want you to succeed as an elected official. If you fail, that's not good for anybody. So I want you to succeed. So be the type of person that does it. I promise you, if you do that, you'll be well received with those officials that you're wanting to communicate with and work with.
Well, I agree with everything that's been said. Just wrap up a couple of those. I want to introduce one of the people, if you're in this part of the world, Justin Whitmore. Justin, wave, smile, is our field rep for this area. So if there's any Farm Bureau related questions, he can help you out with that. I want to take what Kelly said a little step further about getting to know folks, I would almost say introducing yourselves to your neighbors. If you're in a new developing business for you, or there's somebody new to your area, getting along with the people closest to you may be more important than getting along with anybody up here or at a higher level. So make sure you take those steps. But ma'am, about the herbicide-free hay, the Department of Agriculture has, and there's several folks here with them, they have a certified weed-free forage program that is different than that, but I think it would be possible for them to develop something like that. So we might visit about that, because if you're willing to pay for it, if there's a market, I think we could figure out a way to find a producer, start a directory, or figure out some incentives for that. So I'm not familiar with anything today that fits that, but I don't see why that's not something that could evolve over time. And so if you could connect with somebody from the Department of Ag and we can help you with that, that might be something we could get going. Well, I think there's some opportunities for that, for sure, too. But I think maybe just a couple more minutes. Anybody else had anything we'd like to jump into? Well, Meredith, anything you'd like us to close up on before we go on?
Well, we have a fun afternoon planned, and so I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. That was from a local producer in Norman, and so we would like to invite you guys to also make sure, if you haven't already, we talked about those advocacy groups are creating and collaboratives. The Oklahoma Local Ag Collaborative is an organization, and it is a free membership, and we want to keep you guys informed on what's going on, staying up to date, helping get you connected to who you need to talk to for different topics. So please join, keep us, we have a social media page, a website. We are constantly posting things. If you have any workshops, advocacy opportunities, or different things, we would love to share that with our network. So I really want to make sure you guys know that we're, you're part of us. We're a group, and we're your people. So we want to make sure we're here to help you. And then right now, we created some space, because you guys told us you wanted this, for networking and conversations. Please feel free to come up and talk to our panelists, as well as we have wonderful exhibitors, great opportunities. And as you can see in our brochure, we have a great lineup this afternoon. I don't even know how I'm going to pick which session to go to, because they're all so good. But please let us know if you have any questions. We look forward to learning more about your production and what you're doing, and let us know how we can help you. So, thank you. And thank you guys. You were wonderful.